How do we create a dyspraxia-friendly world? How do we create a neurodivergent-friendly world? I have some ideas that may surprise you, but let's first go to animation. I think we can break down the dyspraxia/neurodivergent-friendly world in 4 phases. Phase 1, neurodivergent-friendly exhibitions. Phase 2, neurodivergent-friendly education. Let's move on to phase 3, neurodivergent-friendly workspaces. And finally, phase 4, neurodivergent-friendly homes. Of course, this can extend in a more specific context. For example, neurodivergent/dyspraxia-friendly police, neurodivergent/dyspraxia-friendly nurses, neurodivergent/dyspraxia-friendly teachers, neurodivergent/dyspraxia-friendly middle management, top management, HR, etc. But let's paint a specific picture, because the one thing we don't do is hide behind long syllable words. So let's dive into this and let's analyze this train of thought accordingly. Now, before we discuss the dyspraxia/neurodivergent-friendly exhibition, I think we need to explain a few things. Now, my name is Nathan and I have a social enterprise called Neuro Expression. And now there is something quite important to explain here, because the purpose of a social enterprise is to create social benefit. So what is the benefit of Neuro Expression? That is a very good question. Well, the purpose is to empower neurodivergent people, neurodivergent artists, and neurodivergent communities. But how do we do this? Well, we attempt to do this in a variety of ways. Number 1, create neurodivergent-friendly exhibitions. More on that later on. Number 2, I do facilitation sessions to companies on neurodivergence. Number 3, I'm looking to foster innovative concepts within the neurodivergent context. For example, the neurodivergent-friendly book. And finally, number 4, we are looking to provide awareness and solutions. That's awareness and solutions within the neurodivergent context. Now, if you want to see the evidence of this, you can go onto my website. So please understand that I have a big psychological investment in this concept. Effectively, this is my dream. This is my vision. And before we go to the next section, if you are neurodiverse and/or neurodivergent, I would really appreciate your feedback. We are looking to constantly evolve our vision and our implementation. So I think it's important to establish something. Let's have a clear definition. And this clear definition is the following: neurotypical people, neurodiverse people, and neurodivergent people. Remember, neurodiverse is different, while neurodivergent can be dyspraxia, ADHD, dyslexia, ASD, etc. Because there are many people in the neurodivergent family. So let's start with the neurodivergent-friendly exhibition. To me, a neurodivergent-friendly exhibition has the following. Number 1, it will be performed by neurodivergent artists. Number 2, it will pay neurodivergent artists. Number 3, reasonable adjustments will be made for neurodivergent artists. And number 4, this will be neurodivergent-led, meaning we will get feedback from the neurodivergent community to improve our service. That is really important. And finally, number 5, we will provide virtual reality so that neurodivergent people that can't attend due to their condition can still experience this exhibition. So potentially, we can bring this exhibition to their home. I just want to add that it's important that neurodivergent artists are paid. It's important that they're paid for their work. I think it was a study that was conducted by another institution that stated that there was an expectation that 87% of people that were neurodivergent were asked to do something. They were asked to do something for nothing. Now, volunteering is an incredible thing to do, but also in a capitalist society, there is a form of exchange. And it's wrong. it's fundamentally wrong that people assume that neurodivergent people are not valuable enough to be part of that exchange of value. So we endeavour to ensure that neurodivergent friendly exhibitions pay neurodivergent artists. So this is a quick intermission. Now I have a social enterprise called Neuro Expression, and the purpose of this social enterprise is to empower neurodivergent people, neurodivergent communities and neurodivergent artists, and we do this in a variety of ways. Now one of the things I am working on is what I call an accessible format for neurodivergent thinkers. It's important, it's very important to acknowledge that visual learning materials are essential for neurodivergent thinkers. Now if you want to know more about this, after you have finished watching the video, you can download my free, yes free, PDF called What is Dyspraxia? And the link to this will be in the description box. Now let's get back to the video. Okay, so let's talk about the dyspraxia neurodivergent friendly world, but from an educational perspective. First question, what do we mean by education? Because let's face it, there are different forms of education: school, college, university, informal mentorships, formal mentorships, online education, etc. So let's talk about it from the university context. And in some senses, or in some sense, the universities in Britain do contain the vision of a neurodivergent friendly world. For example, you can get a free diagnosis, you can get support from specific departments, which is great. And I think there is a level of awareness of neurodivergence within the academic circles. This is very positive and it should be acknowledged, but what also could be acknowledged is that more can be done. Because it is to my understanding that neurodivergent people are visual thinkers. This is a very important point. And despite that neurodivergent people are predominantly visual thinkers, many universities and many forms of education cater for verbal thinking. For example, universities, in my experience, they have libraries, they have books that are mainly geared towards, you guessed it, verbal thinking. Why is this a problem? Why is this a problem? This is a problem because if an institution focuses on verbal thinking, then by definition it excludes visual thinkers. And if you exclude visual thinkers, then you're excluding neurodivergent learners. Therefore, universities need to gear their educational program for visual thinking. This, from my perspective, is completely essential. I just want to finish this section by stating I've had a lot of experience within the university context. I've got a degree, 2 postgraduate degrees, and I have a master's degree. I was by no means a good student, but I was a student for a fairly long time. And I think universities are more progressive with neurodivergence than work institutions, but there is still more that can be done. And at some point, I'll be dedicating a whole video to this subject. So how do we create a neurodivergent/dyspraxia friendly world in work institutions or in workspaces? Now in Britain, we have the Equality Act and we have reasonable adjustments. And these are crucial. To me, this is the legal framework to create the neurodivergent friendly workspace or the neurodivergent friendly work institution. Now I have a social enterprise, but I also work. And in my work, I have a job coach, and the purpose of the job coach is to minimize the barriers associated to my neurodivergence. This funding for my job coach helps create the neurodivergent friendly workspace, the neurodivergent friendly working environment. But the only way to have a dedicated neurodivergent workspace, in my opinion, is to have a culture that promotes it. And the foundation of that culture is education, awareness, and discussion. Honest discussion and positive discussion. So in essence, yes, of course you need resources. Think of the job coach. Something needs to pay for that. But you also need a commitment of the minds of the workers to foster a positive neurodivergent workspace. Because from my perspective, it's a collaboration. It's a collaboration between workers, management, senior management, CEO, trustees, etc. This collaboration element is essential. So let's conclude with the following statements. Statement number 1, a dyspraxia/neurodivergent world is part of my purpose, and that is reflected in my social enterprise. This is part of my mission. It's a massive part of my mission, and like a committed captain, I will sink with that ship. Statement number 2, a dyspraxia/neurodivergent friendly world consists of neurodivergent friendly exhibitions. These exhibitions comprise of various elements. Statement number 3, a dyspraxia/neurodivergent world, or a dyspraxia/neurodivergent friendly world, consists of neurodivergent friendly schools or neurodivergent friendly education. These are educational systems that engage visual thinking. There's an important point to make. They engage visual thinking as well as reasonable adjustments and other elements. And statement number 4, a dyspraxia/neurodivergent friendly world also consists of neurodivergent friendly work institutions. This involves reasonable adjustments, and it involves the collaboration of all staff to have a neurodivergent friendly mindset.